Kevin O'Leary, thank you very much indeed for joining us here at Economy Middle East. Now, can I start by asking you, with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 driving major transformation here in the kingdom, how do you think this will reshape the investment prospects?
Well, what really matters about investment, particularly around real estate and development, is stability. And so you think about what real estate investors are looking for. They want government policy that they understand, that's transparent and that's stable. That's the most important thing. And I think what's happened here in the region, particularly in Saudi Arabia in the last, call it a decade, is things have gotten better and better and better and better every year, because you need access to capital. You need access to debt and equity, both of them. And you also want to know what the permitting process is going to be like and how long it will take, because you think about the IRR in any real estate development. If you're going into a new region that you don't have a lot of experience in, how long does it take to get the permit? How long does it take to get the power? How long does it take to get the financing locked in? All of these things have gotten much more stable and transparent in Saudi Arabia in the last decade. And that's the reason you're getting so much interest. You look at a conference like this, it's packed. So people want to learn more, they want to know more. Those who were early are obviously bearing fruit faster, but there's room for every type of real estate development here, whether you're commercial, residential, any kind of resort-based, it's all here. And I think it's going to garner a lot of interest because returns are based on growth. And this region has fantastic growth.
Given your background in value investing, are there any specific sectors of real estate in Saudi Arabia that have captured your interest in particular?
You have to understand something about real estate development. You can't be a generalist. You have to specialize in something because there's such a broad market, and real estate is the largest part of our portfolio. Usually, our normal rule, our normal mandate is to have no sector more than 20%, with the exception of real estate, where we go to over 33%. So I'm always looking for areas that we have an advantage in. And I'll tell you that what interests me the most right now, data centers, because you've just had an announcement in the last 48 hours from, the rulers here that $100 billion is going into AI. Now, in order to have that kind of an investment, you need the infrastructure. And what are those? They're data centers. What do you need to build data centers? Very specialized. You need the engineering talent. Number two, you need the permits. Number three, you need the fiber. And above all, and what matters the most, is you need the power. You need the power, of which all of those exist here. And I think you're going to see a lot of people interested in this. However, there are very few specialists in data center development. And I'm glad I can call myself one of them. I would argue there's only 25 in the world that have actually built one that's anywhere near what you required for hyperscalers. And that means 5 nines. That's 5.9999. What does 5.9 mean? And believe me, if you're talking about $100 billion worth of investment in AI here in Saudi Arabia, you're going to be wanting to build 5.9 data centers. What it means is the facility has to be up 9.9999% of the time. That means it can only be down 14 seconds a month. To build that level of engineering excellence is extremely hard to do, very hard to do. It requires redundancy in power, very specialized engineering, and our team is one of the 25 in the world that has done it, and so we'll be looking at this very closely. And that's a huge competitive advantage, obviously. And we look at this every time a country announces such a big investment in AI, we come knocking on the door. That's why I'm here.
Now, the opportunities in Saudi Arabia are apparent, but for foreign investors looking to expand in the region, what are some of the challenges they might encounter?
So if you're an investor, very often you're doing an allocation from an institutional fund. You're not the developer yourself. So you're looking for development talent with a long track record. You can check the box on that one here in Saudi Arabia. Most of the large developers in every vertical of real estate are here or are coming. So if you're investing in a fund around residential, you're going to get someone who's done it before. Or you're interested in commercial real estate or data centers, as I just talked about, or resort-based, Most of the hotel operators are looking at this for managing them, and the developers are following them in. I think this is going to attract a lot of capital. And the thing about IRRs or returns in real estate is stability in the region. And I think it's getting more and more stable and open. That's why you're seeing so much traffic here, so much interest. I would say this is going to be one of the countries that provides some of the best returns over the next 20 years.
And I want to take your view on the global real estate market. How is it evolving? What are the opportunities for the emerging investors in the coming years?
The global real estate market is driven by something that everybody's realized is the most important aspect: policy. Which countries, governments are providing stable policy for real estate development? Because if you think about the challenges of, let's just pick residential, there are many countries, particularly in Europe, you can't get a permit for land. You just can't get any land. Then you can't get the power. And, it depends on the policy. So you might as well start at the top. If you really want to develop real estate, you might as well sit down with the leadership and say, what is your policy for real estate development? In which verticals are you focusing on providing accommodative policy? If you don't understand that, well, first of all, you're not a real estate developer, because all you're going to do is languish for decades getting nothing done. You need to have policy in place. Also, you need stability. And I'd argue a good case in point. One of the lowest costs of power in Europe 10 years ago was the Ukraine hydroelectric power, some of the most inexpensive in the world. So for commercial real estate and for a lot of industrial real estate, that was extremely attractive. Right now, a lot of those facilities have Russian tanks rolling over them. That was a bad outcome. So that's not stable. You really want areas of the world where you can get some kind of stability, because you've got to think in terms of 25-year cycles for a large-scale real estate development. The IRRs, that's a long time. So you want to ask yourself, is this region stable? Is it going to be stable? Do I have the power? Do I have the policy? Do I have the people? Do I have the market growth? And is it stable? That's why money comes to stability. I mean, it makes decisions every single day, so it's looking for stability. Governments that support stability and provide policy for that kind of growth, that's how it works.